All right, so Harrowing Trundle, or the Trundle Bundle, as it has lovingly been called in the past. So one of the key gameplay mechanics in Runeterra is that when you draw a champion that you already have a copy of in play, the second champion that you draw ends up turning into its champion spell, in this case, Trundle's Icequake. That being said, there are other ways to cheat multiple of the same champion into play, and this deck is looking to do exactly that with Trundle. Notably, Trundle says when I'm summoned, create an Ice Pillar in your hand, so you don't have to play him. If he comes into play from anywhere, he gives you this Ice Pillar. And Trundle's leveled mode gets bigger when it attacks for every 8+ cost card you have in play or in your hand. So the basic idea with this deck is using other champions like leveled Thresh, we can pull additional Trundles into play. Things like Rekindler can get us extra Trundles into play. And then our deck's namesake card, the Harrowing, if we've had 2, 3, 4, 5, even 6 Trundles die through the course of the game, Harrowing can put a pile of Trundles into play, put a bunch of Ice Pillars in your hand, and then you attack with a bunch of leveled Trundles with Overwhelm for a ton of attack. So, the basic idea is we are a control deck with lots of cheap units like Aristocrat, Omen Hawk, Sentry, things like Vile Feast to keep us alive, Glimpse to kind of churn through cards in our deck, and eventually floop a bunch of Trundles into play. Yeah, there's an arm missing up there. That's fine. Let's go ahead and dive on into some games here with this one and see how it goes. One thing that's notable for folks that are getting used to some of the differences in Runeterra coming from Magic is that if you have the same Trundle die multiple times in Runeterra, it counts as multiple Trundles. So Runeterra you're not reanimating a specific card, you're reanimating an instance of something that died. So if you have the same Trundle die multiple times, it counts as multiple Trundles for Harrowing. Does Avalanche fit in versus aggro deck? So the basic idea that this deck is trying to execute is playing cheap units of its own against the aggressive decks to block inside of combat, because playing cheap units of our own allows Thresh to be a card that we can level up somewhat consistency to find Trundle out of our deck. So the idea is cheap units serve a similar role to what a sweeper would, while also synergizing with Thresh as our second champion. Opponent is playing probably Endure aggro. This is an Aristocrat sacrifice my own stuff kind of style deck that top ends they who endure, generally speaking. Our hand's super reasonable here. Remember, we can bank up to 3 mana across turns, so what we're going to likely do is play Omen Hawk on 1. We'll Catalyst of the Aeons on 3 after banking 2 mana on 2, and then we'll be able to Thresh on 4. And we're attacking on even, so Thresh on 4 will be very good here. Oh, did our opponent time out? That's sad. Our hand's real good. I think the Lee Sin matchup for our type is kind of hard. I think Pirate aggro is very reasonable with our Catalyst of the Aeons and Innkeepers to help keep us alive along with our early blockers. Our deck's basically a combo control deck, and the Lee Sin combo deck tends to just be a faster combo than we are. It seems like, unfortunately, our opponent has disconnected here. So I think we need to wait for their timer to tick down one more time. If they do show back up... Oh, maybe they're back? Oh, have we recovered? Some kind of connections are spotty. Hey, we're back. Sweet. I should technically wait to do that till after they attack me, right? I guess if I pass there, they could theoretically pass back and burn my mana, though. So maybe that's just right.
The dire hurts your name above all others, Thresh.
Good. You're very evil and we hate you. Good. Thresh, try to eat Kalista here. If it's successful, turns this into a 3-3. And if they have Fury of the North, we get kind of blown out. So I think I'm actually just going to go ahead and eat their 1-1 here. This does get her a work towards leveling a little bit, but I think that's fine. Thresh will begin working his way towards level. He levels when he sees seen 6 things die on either side. Their Kalista notably levels when she's seen 3 of their own things die. Yeah, the Runeterra board just feels so incredibly alive. So many little interactions. Maybe I'm actually supposed to play Omen Hawk there so that way I can Catalyst this turn. Maybe opponent had somewhere to be. What are you looking for, dude? You can put the token there, yep. Right there. That's good. Perfect. Perfect. This hand's kind of great, huh? We have Hawk on 1, into Catalyst on 3, into Trundle on 4. This is unfortunately fearsome, so it can't be blocked except by things with 3+ attack. Now we're probably going to Thresh on 4.
Fuse is lit.
1 Harrowing short. You can play a Missed Call Extreme Otter and not be strictly worse. Those are token cards. You can play with those. Hopefully they open on attacks here, since I want to Catalyst anyways. If they open on attacks, we're going to go ahead and chump block this here. We'll take 2 down to 16, and they'll split us back up to 19. Okay.
For the Empire. The few are the many.
We definitely want to Catalyst this turn so we can 5-drop next turn, right?
Who's gonna get in my way?
We're gonna end up at 14 here. Why wait for it? It literally doesn't matter, Tobias.
What delightful agony we shall inflict.
We'll have Thresh hook the 2-3 here because Vile Feast can kill this.
They will beg for death. Yes, you.
If they...
Fortune favors the bold.
No open on attack seems really good for us. I think because they elected not to open on attack, so we just go ahead and play Trundle here.
Something for him? You got a problem?
Going to 7 here. Maybe I'm not supposed to put this in front of here, because if they make it rain, we'll lose Thresh now. I don't know. I have another Thresh in my hand though. Wow, that seems... The fact that they are using a burn spell to kill my Trundle instead of killing me seems really, really good for me, huh? Feels like a mistake on their part.
This'll take the chill off.
Yeah, imagine if I was 3 lower here. I guess I'd have a Trundle, but I'd be a lot more scared if I was 3 lower.
Let's take this outside.
Yes. It's hard to get much worse.
Like a fish in water.
Well, definitely vengeancing that. Actually, let's just box it. Let's just box it. We can wait and see if they play something else. Let's do the old soft pass with the pillar.
King of Trolls coming through.
The first time I played box, I thought it was symmetrical, and I was pleasantly surprised when it was not. Yep. Climbing on up. You play my tier 3 Fiora Bastion build around. I can't see in the queue, so I assume. Yeah, yes, I did, Baron. Someone else bumped that up, so it got played pretty quickly. Sorry, I saw your message earlier and I forgot to respond to it. Yeah, that one got played. I think this hand's pretty good. We can have Chronicler, Cantrip the Sentry. Maybe I mulligan the Aristocrat. Looking for another higher impact card. But these 3 definitely seem great. Yeah, I think the Thresh version with units is a little bit better than the Entreat build that we tried. Hey, thanks, LaShawn. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Thanks for keeping me around. I'm going to send out a sub-survey asking about how people feel about the mix of content I did this month next week, so make sure you fill that out for me. That's really gonna... That survey is going to really drive the decision that I make next month with what direction I want to go.
Success
get you noticed around here.
These old eyes still see far and clear. The dead don't eat riches. Ready the torch.
Pretty okay with this block here. This lets me Vile Feast to kill this later. And then the 1/1 can trade with this down the line even, which is good. So the way the type rank in this game works is you have ladder points, or LP, I believe. And they're called LP. I don't remember if they stand for ladder points or not. But as you win games, you acquire ladder points. As you lose games, you lose ladder points.
Alert the village.
Did we get in-client leaderboards yet? I think in-client leaderboards are on their roadmap, right? Do they exist yet? I play games for fun for the most part, so I haven't really tracked all the competitive stuff. They're supposed to be announcing stuff for seasonal tournaments and more competitive play sometime this month, I believe. I don't remember if they gave us an exact date. They added a leaderboard last patch. Okay, yeah, I thought I couldn't remember if they mentioned it was coming or if it was already added. Everything kind of blurs. For people that are new to the channel, you probably see my 6-year-old playing around in my office here in the background. I have a 5 and a 6-year-old currently at home doing remote learning, and then I also have a 3-month-old, so my sleep schedule is a little sporadic. That's a Pokemon card, yep. That's a Heracross. That's one of Dad's favorite Pokemon.
Let's get to it.
So I don't think I want to... I don't think I want to trade this because I would kind of like to Chronicler of Rune it to draw an extra card. Well, maybe I am supposed to trade it because I might want to Chronicler Trundle.
Never lost a fair game. Something for all of you.
Let me hit a culture. Yeah, Pokemon's great. Speaking of, if you're a sub who hasn't poked around in the subs Discord, there's a bunch of us that play Pokemon Go in there. I'm off and on Pokemon Go. My wife plays a ton, and there's a number of people that are pretty active. They've been coordinating remote raids together.
There's nowhere to hide.
100 is 200, buddy. When is your next class? 10 minutes. It's 300, buddy.
Yeah, you don't want to cross me.
Like a worm on a hook.
That's true. The last couple of days, Baldur's Gate hasn't been super great for my sleep schedule. Opponent's playing Twisted Fate Gangplank. Their build could kind of go either way. Gangplank implies something more aggressive. Twisted Fate's generally something more controlling. Fairly mid-rangey overall. We're just dropping Trundle here.
These are troll lands.
I need more hands!
The freeze plate effects are good. I think the cheap units in Thresh tend to be much better in the aggressive matchup, so I think it's kind of a trade-off. I think the Entreat build that we had showed off on stream previously is much better against the Lee Sin decks, but I think this build with the more units in it and Thresh tends to be better against these Bilgewater aggressive decks, and the Bilgewater aggro decks have definitely been more popular on the latter in my experience. Magic's had a tough last like year and a half, Beat Nation. Wizards, so for a long time, Wizards has never been a particularly great company when it comes to managing their game or communicating with their players, but like the game was always great, so it like wasn't a big deal. But in the last year or two, depending on where exactly you want to draw the line, the game's been in a rough spot, and when the game's in a rough spot, their inability to communicate with players has led to a lot of frustration.
Say your farewells.
Well, a bunch of things are gonna die. Thresh is gonna collect some souls here.
Boys.
That seems fine for us, right? Our life total is high-ish here. Yeah, I mean, the people making Magic are very happy with the state of Magic. Aaron Forsyth was on a community stream recently, and he said Magic during the pandemic is currently more profitable than it has ever been. So they're hitting the metrics they want to hit, I assume. Nah, Magic's too big to fail. There'll always be people willing to buy Magic cards. And in fact, part of the issue with Magic from a player perspective, in my opinion, has become the fact that Magic's not just a card game. Magic is also a collectible stock market. And a lot of the issues that they've created in Magic for people that want to play the game are because they're leaning more heavily into it being a collectible stock market. And like, all the wonderful gameplay things about Runeterra aside, one of the reasons why I love the game, and one of the reasons why it's so well done, I think, is because they don't have to worry about that. There's no Runeterra finance that, like, makes me feel obligated, or makes you obligated to, like, play this sub-game, basically.
Then kindle anew.
I think we just play this and get a Thresh and start attacking here. They have these Decimates, but, like, next turn I'm gonna have Cavern Keepers and stuff.
Hold it, partner.
One smack'll do.
Come to fight.
Like a worm on a hook.
Yeah, the new secret layer that people are complaining about, that thing's gonna be insanely profitable, and I expect there to be lots more like that. I love Magic Finance. Best time to buy is always, best time to sell is never. Funny, it's funny because it's true. How does the existence of an MTG secondary market impact card design? So, Wizards is unable to ban cards in an appropriate time frame because they can't worry, because they have to worry about selling loot boxes and getting people to gamble on booster packs. So a lot of Wizards' lack of responsiveness when it comes to managing mistakes they've created in their formats is because of their inability to ban Chase Mythics from the most recent set. In large part. Only taking one from this Rex? It seems pretty good for us. So, important to note here, Tavern Keeper is a play effect. It is not a summon effect. So if you Chronicler this, you do not get to heal. This is important to note. Man, are we gonna beat a Captain Pharaoh this game? That seems kind of absurd. It's not usually a card that gets beaten.
Smashing! Get ready for a beatdown! Yum yum!
Hey, Brad, thanks for the 10 months. Really appreciate it. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around.
Flying.
Yum yum!
Trundle is quite overwhelming, chat. Quite overwhelming.
You can't take this crown!
Morning, Kyle. Huh. So they're playing Zed Lee Sin. Like I said, I think this matchup's pretty hard for us. I think I'm going to keep the Catalyst and plan to turn 4 Thresh and see if that's good enough. If our opponent has a fast Lee Sin, we likely can't win. I think this matchup's pretty tough. Like I mentioned, I think there's plenty of decks that can beat the Lee Sin deck, but the Lee Sin deck tends to feel a little bit polarized, and that you kind of have to have a narrow subset of answers to be able to interact with it. And if you don't have those answers, generally speaking, you're in for time.
I am the blade in the darkness.
Sweet. New Runeterra spoilers. We'll pull those up here. Pull those up here after this game. So both Thresh and Trundle die to this getting Pale cascaded, but I really don't care if Trundle dies, right? Actually, getting this down, if this doesn't die, it's kind of appealing. Because it starts to collect souls. Yeah, I'm
The trolls are going to war!
Oh, wing cons. My Timmy sense is tingling.
Take forever, why don't ya?
Take forever, why don't ya? Yeah, no Pale Cascade. Good beats. Good beats.
Achilles, where are you?
Where are you? They play another unit out, we're definitely just ruinating. I'll pass back. You want to end the turn? I'd love to level my Trundle before I ruination. Yeah, we'll take a peek at the spoilers after this game, as always. Every Kindler here to summon another Trundle. We had to Ice Pillar to level them up.
I fight with my spirit, not my fists. It is time.
Return to us.
Return to us.
Do not fear the shrouded path.
We're gonna lose so many games with the new landmark. Alt win cons usually end the dorky that way, yeah.
Do not disappoint me.
This block here means Vile Feast can kill that, which is nice. I'm gonna do this now before they have a chance to give it the Overwhelm card. Bastion, sure.
What is gained when we return malevolence?
When we return malevolence.
And I thought I was a troll.
I think Trundle. It's a toss-up between Trundle and Ezreal for my favorite heckling voice lines. They're both pretty good.
Cold in the Freljord. You're in my kingdom now.
They won't suffer long. Shadows cut deep as any weapon.
Nothing's tougher than a troll.
I just like playing Thresh and Bird here. I guess guess I could have played the other Ice Pillar out. Seeing as we have 19 life and it's turn 9, I think we've got this one. No, that's really not the case. Opponent's Lee Sin is basically leveled. The opponent's deck's a combo deck that can kill you full to nothing in one turn.
Your lesson begins.
Okay, so we'll respond to this, or before combat happens with the Vile Feast, to try and ping the barrier off of here, so that way the 4/4 can trade with the Zed. That's unfortunate. Just playing this and healing Thresh. We got a couple of keywords up here on Zed, by the way. Couple 2-3. So you just see 3 more things die to level up.
As the dragon wills.
There's a good chance we just die here.
Force is meaningless without skill.
Yeah, I guess good chance is probably overstating. They have to get him up to 10 power.
I'll see this through.
Only the worthy survive.
Prepare yourself.
What's this deck's win rate? You can always see the record with the current deck that we're playing by typing !record in chat.
We go as one.
Let's talk about your deck.
So something that's interesting here is, I think I might have actually made a mistake. I think I was supposed to block with this so it died, so that way I had the extra bench space free.
Witness my masterpiece, scribe.
Daylight warms the heart and lights the way.
I will not hold back.
If they generated a meteor comet here, we're probably dead. Yeah. Like I said, I think this matchup's basically impossible. Our deck's based around trying to resolve a 9-mana slow spell, and they're playing like 2 to 3 deny, on top of the fact that they have a combo kill that's faster than us on average. Oh right. Cancel. We're gonna do the thing. That artwork is gorgeous. Star Spring. Round end. Heal damaged allies 1. Then, once I've seen you heal 22 plus damage of allies, win the game. Landmark, for those that aren't keeping up on the new Runeterra cards, these take up a spot on your bench. So they take one of your 6 unit slots, but they cannot be attacked and they cannot block, and they don't attack, obviously. Allies, does this, catch me up on the Runeterra jargon. Does allies include Nexus or no? Nexus doesn't count. Okay. The Nexus is not an ally. Okay, so regeneration heals. Regeneration definitely counts. Yeah, that's sweet. That's sweet. This feels like it could be something that could maybe be competitive, at least fringe playable. Like, this is like you could play a control deck that's just interested in healing its stuff and playing defensively. This could also be, if you remember, there were a bunch of Bilgewater cards that were spoiled that hurt themselves. This could be very good with the Bilgewater cards that hurt themselves. So maybe there's a Targon Bilgewater configuration worth exploring. All the cards that came with Kench. Spring Gifts fully heal an ally. The fact that this is slow probably makes it not good enough. It's only 1 mana though, so maybe this is good enough just to pair with the alt win con. I wouldn't be surprised if that's not good enough though. Oh, it's not a card that you're gonna play. Okay, so when I'm summoned, create a Spring Gifts. So if we get this for free, off of a 3 mana 3/3, that's probably playable. Like, I don't think Spring Gifts is a card that you want to register, but if it's a card you're generating off of Spring Guardian, that seems fine. Divergent Paths. Draw a landmark or destroy a landmark. This is fantastic. So, one of the things that's a concern about the introduction of landmarks as a card type is how interactable are they? And cards like this will be key to making sure landmarks aren't offensive in Runeterra as a game. And what I mean by that is this is a card that interacts with opposing landmarks that still does something for you when your opponent isn't playing any landmarks. So these kind of modal cards that like let you be interactive but also aren't narrow and just dead cards when they're not useful interaction is really important. So I like this design a lot. Sweet. I think this is obviously the sweetest card in the set today. And someone had mentioned earlier before we pulled these up that we were going to lose a lot of games on stream with that. I think that's probably an accurate reflection. I love me an alt win con card, and the artwork is just so stunning. That's really fantastic. Might have a new desktop background in this one. We can get a high res of it. It's pretty dead if you're not also running landmarks. Sure, so you're gonna play it if you're running landmarks. Yes, regeneration counts as healing. If you get high raise, put in discard. Will do. Misfortune Gangplank. Okie doke. I'm gonna mulligan the Rekindler here. All of these sound good as cheap cards.
Fuse is lit! Got something for him?
Hey, thanks, Minted. Good to be here. If sub count permitting, I intend to make Runeterra my new home for digital card gaming on Twitch.
Warm hots and hot
We'll see how things end up after October.
If they don't break, they'll burn. The few.
I don't really have anything I'm ramping into at the moment, so I think I want to just play out my 4/4 this turn.
This one's on the house.
Try me.
Yeah, I said that, Beat Nation. Regen counts as healing. That is correct. Offering this trade, or this jump might be wrong. If they had Make It Rain, this attack is kind of bad. So maybe I shouldn't do that. Again, worth noting that this is a play, not a summon effect. So if I Chronicler this, I do not get this effect again.
Let's talk about your dad.
I think I am going to go ahead and Catalyst here. The fact that their play this turn is just Decimate us seems really good. It means they're not adding to the board, which tends to be good for us. Thresh sounds stellar. Just try and control the board here.
Who's angry for action, eh?
Any last words? I own you. That's it.
You wanted wrath. No use trying. Noxus lives on.
What will you have?
I rarely forget. I never forgive.
Welcome to the tipsy hour.
Achilles? Where are you?
Where are you?
I've carved meat bigger than you.
think we block with this, so this way, if I draw a deal one next turn, I can kill that. I like Thresh. I think Thresh leans into playing cheap units well, like we're doing here, which is great.
Witness my
What I think about Lee Sin right now, I think it's kind of a polarizing card. I don't think from a pure power level perspective, Lee Sin's unbeatable or overbearing, but I do think it's kind of narrow in what's able to interact with it in a way that's kind of unhealthy. Don't get to see you as much live from the UK, but I had a half day today and it's my birthday, so I wanted to say that you've got me into Runeterra, and I'm glad you've left Magic behind, hoping we can keep going with Runeterra stuff. I intend to increase my sub tier 2 when it renews. Keep up the excellent work. Thanks, Simon. I really appreciate it. And happy birthday. Hope you're staying safe over there. I appreciate the support. Yeah, we just went through the alternate win con cards. Unless you're talking about something else. Was there a second spoiler drop? Feel free. Links are enabled in chat, by the way. So feel free to feel free to link stuff when stuff like that comes up. Chat rules are very simple. Act like an adult, you'll be treated like an adult. Act like my 5-year-old, you'll be treated like my 5-year-old when he's bad and put in a timeout. This matchup's just, to put it lightly. I think I'm mulliganing everything but this. We basically want to try and get Trundles going ASAP. We're gonna keep this because it accelerates us. Again, we can bank up to 3 mana across turns. So even though we play this on 1, we'll bank this on 2. Then on 3, we'll be able to play it.
Without a sound. Seize control. We go as one.
Yeah, this matchup's tough. Actually, it's kind of funny. The Bastion buff actually made our deck better in this matchup a little bit. Like, it's still bad, but it made it better because these decks are now splitting Deny and Bastion. So before, a lot of them were playing 3 Denies. Now they're not always on 3, and Deny is definitely better against us than Bastion. So you can play Flash Freeze, but playing Flash Freeze doesn't move the needle significantly on the matchup, and you still lose frequently. So rather than putting cards into my deck that, like, make the Pirate matchup worse, for example, I'd rather just have a bad matchup. When you're playing a tier 2, a B-list deck like we're playing, like, we're competitive in a lot of places, but sometimes you're just gonna have a bad matchup. That's how card games work. And, like, we're not 0% here, but we're definitely not a favorite. If we get really fortunate and they struggle to find their copies of Lee Sin's, we can be okay here because our deck's very reasonable against, like, aggressive decks in general. It's the combo kill aspect of their archetype that gives us a hard time. Never forget that your Innkeeper can heal your allies too. This comes up quite frequently with Thresh. It's one of the reasons why we're able to level this somewhat consistently, because we're able to heal it back up after it challenges things down. Does Ladros fit into this deck? Card rec command's usually a good baseline for making card recommendations.
Believe or burn.
This block makes me think they have Comet. Can you explain why? Happy Blur's Day, Evan.
For those who need it.
This'll take the chill off.
Mr. Ben and Watch, thanks for the 2/3 of a year. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Vengeance is kind of clunky against their deck anyways, and now I get to put a bunch of Threshes into play. The old Uno reverse card. Yeah, it's a good summary. We're gonna die to this Lee Sin and feel bad, but that's what it is.
Candle for every soul.
These gems grant a wearer harmony.
Conflict is all in the mind.
Nobody makes me bleed my own blood, chat. Nobody.
Prepare yourself.
Yeah, obliterating a thing means it didn't die. This is why I killed my own thing there.
We each died, then found hope.
Then found hope.
This one's on the house.
I mean, maybe we get lucky and they don't have an Overwhelm card here. If they don't have an Overwhelm card here, Lee Sin's really not that bad.
Will not hold back.
The interaction with Overwhelm specifically on Lee Sin is one I'm not a huge fan of. It's definitely a Lee Sin feels like a Magic card. And for those that haven't played Magic, that's not a compliment. You want to buy a board? What's the best board? I like, what's my favorite board? I think I like the dark, Celestial one. Slaughter Docs does have some of the best music.
Enter, traveler, and stop staring.
So again, if my opponent gives this Overwhelm next turn, they get to just kill us. And this is a good example of why someone said, well, what do you play? What makes it feel like a Magic card? Magic cards tend to require very narrow, specific answers, and when you don't have those narrow, specific answers, you just die. Because I don't think Lee Sin is inherently overbearing. I don't think it's too strong, but I do think on average how it feels to play against is awful. It feels bad to play with.
Center your spirit.
Why not sack the blocker so they can't kick it? It's an interesting thought. They don't have Overwhelm here. So again, like, we could have a shot here.
My lands need me. Prepare yourself. Conflict is all in the mind. As the dragon wills.
But I mean, it doesn't have Overwhelm, chat. So I can go Glimpse this, Vile Feast this, And this is gonna level my Threshes, because Vile Feast will happen, this'll die, this'll level, which levels this other Thresh too, because all the Threshes level at once. And then we get to draw 2 cards here as well. That seems fine. We also only take 5 from this.
Nothing escapes my watch.
Oh, I should block it. Yeah, it's a good call in case I took 2 I didn't need to take there. Ruination isn't Pog. This has Spell Shield.
The homestead.
Like a worm on a hook.
Again, I think Bastion is fine. I think Bastion just highlights or amplifies issues that Lee Sin already has as a card. I think the thing that balances Spell Shield in this game, in my mind, is the fact that you still have the ability to interact with things via combat and challengers, and the fact that Lee Sin as a design means you can't interact with him via combat makes things really tough. It makes it very non-interactable. They should delete Lee Sin. I think that's a little aggressive.
Conflict is all in the mind.
If I kill all of my units, they can't hook them, right? Yeah, change barrier to quick attack is a good suggestion, because then you can kill him in combat when you're attacking. So he survives because his spell shield breaks here. They have gems. I have gained 6 in my hand.
Pledge yourself to the shadows.
Yep, and we're dead now. So, to the person I timed out saying GG while we still have outs to draw, don't be obnoxious. You're correct, sometimes you die, but if you're gonna concede games where you still have outs to draw to and it's one more draw step, you might as well just not play. If we drew Vengeance there, we got to gain 3 to survive the Zed attack, and Vengeance killed their thing, and then we potentially killed them on the backswing with Harrowing. Twisted Swain, eh? I'm gonna keep Sentry on a mulligan, the rest of these looking for Trundle and Ramp, I think. Yeah, this is great, actually. So we'll Hawk on 1 now, and then plan to Catalyst on 3. Bank our spell mana on 2. They ran an uptick in viewers from noon to 1. No, the way Twitch works, the longer your stream session is, the more viewers you tend to have for it, because the first little bit of streaming is like building up your audience for the day, which is why doing 2 streams per day that are shorter is technically worse for optimizing my Twitch numbers, but, you know, unfortunately, given the state of the world, doing 2 shorter streams is better for my family, with the kids doing remote learning, so it is what it is.
You can see the Nebastian border from here.
One of the questions I'm actually gonna have on the next sub poll too is in addition to asking folks how they feel about Runeterra and variety stuff, I'm also gonna ask how they feel about the split schedule. While the split schedule is technically worse for min-maxing Twitch viewer count, I've actually kind of liked it, having a break in the middle and doing 2 shorter segments. So I'm interested to see how subs feel about it. Might be wrong to offer this trade.
Find me a flame-ridden lump! Alert the village!
Thresh is a good pickup. Love more dorks dying here, I assume.
Born a patrician, I became a soldier. Witness strength.
This attack almost assuredly means they have they have a Ravenous block or another Swain, but it's gonna get something at some point anyway, so I think I just played this out. Yeah, I'm aware they have Flock, but like something's getting flocked at some point.
They should thank you for the treat.
That was a great draw.
One candle for every soul.
Yeah, it's quite possible, Niv. Read. So, I think we attack with both of these. If they want to block here, Vile Feast gets to kill this, so that's okay with us. Honestly, maybe I just attack with everything, because throwing these away with Thresh out seems fine. Yeah, actually just gonna smash here to try and get Thresh leveling. You cannot reorder your hand to the Runeterra client, which I actually wish we could do. That's definitely one of my twitchy things that I try to do, but you can't.
After the battle,
I think Ruination is very good in matchups like what we're playing here, Blue Man, and I actually don't think the Pirates matchup's very bad for this deck. We have a lot of pretty cheap units that tend to be good in that matchup.
Keep up, keep up.
So I don't know that I necessarily want to make changes to make a matchup that's already okay better. I think we're just shoving this in a box, huh? I'm gonna pass here to see if they go to attacks first. See if they deploy something else. There's another skill layer with static hand order. What's the best way to put it? I think the skill layer that is added with static hand order largely adds tedious, but it's not a skill worth testing. That right there. I think what you're testing by letting people track which cards are in people's hands is largely tedious and something that's a very feel bad that people who want to min-max feel obligated to track, and it makes the game frustrating and tedious because you either feel like you're putting at yourself at a disadvantage by not tracking it, or you're forced to do something that's tedious. So in general, not a huge fan of that. This is gonna level him. That's fine though, right? I have a Vile Feast.
victory at any
Oh, this one's bigger from an Omen Hawk too. Good beats.
For the show.
I'll do sandwiches so the fresh stuff doesn't go bad. Love you.
Lady Elise, where are you?
I kind of want a glimpse here, but I also kind of want to save the glimpse to be in response to a removal spell. Pass for now.
Lock the doors.
Rule number 1 of game design: never make a player do what the computer could do. See the eye. Yeah, I think that's a great, but big agree with that. Forcing your players to do something that the computer could be doing for them tends to be silly. Pretty sure if they want to end the turn here, that's good for us. So.
Good to go.
So 1, 2, 3, 4 things are dying. So if I glimpse this, my thresh will level. That sounds nice. And I want to glimpse in response there. So that way, after all these sharp cannon triggers happen, I get priority to play a card. Well, that's almost punishing, but, like, I have another Thresh. So, like, eh. And remember, once one Thresh levels, they're all leveled.
Make them go boom!
I've carved meat bigger than you.
Please remember, I love suggestions on plays I could have made better, but it's important that you include a why. When you just say plays bad or you should have done X, you're not really helping me learn. You're just shouting stuff in chat and telling me that I'm wrong. And I'm wrong all the time. Just ask my lovely wife who came in a moment ago. But if you're gonna tell me I'm wrong, help me learn from it. Help me understand why I'm wrong. All right, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? The Trundle, I was gonna open on attacks, but the Trundle draw makes me pause. So the problem is, if I attack and get Trundle, this is no longer a Trundle in my hand, it turns into an Ice Quake. So I think I'm supposed to Trundle so that way I can attack with double Trundle here. Because remember, this can pull an additional Trundle out if I already have one in play, but if I pull one out while this is in my hand, it's going to turn into its champion spell.
King of Trolls coming through.
You'd be afraid of stun? Yeah, I guess. I don't know, I still have a Trundle in play if that happens, though.
Aren't any gods here? Just me.
Aaron Sonari, thank you for the 13 months of support. I really appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Pretty sure we're holding this to heal ourselves, so I'm just going to pass here.
You wanted wrath. Bam, bam, bam! Ha, ha, ha.
What's up, dude? What's up? No, Mom already asked me. told I was gonna have a sandwich. I love you though. Thank you. What it is. Okay, tell mommy I'll be up in a little bit, and if she's making sandwiches, I'll have one, okay? No, I'm not gonna have pizza. You enjoy your pizza though, okay? Alright, let's play one more with this, and then we'll call it a day. Thanks everybody for hanging out today, by the way. Hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you're at in the world. If you're someone new stumbling into the channel from the Runeterra section on Twitch, welcome. My name's Jeff Hoagland. I stream full-time here. Currently branching out for the month of October because Magic, the game that I normally play, has felt a little bit medium lately, and I'm exploring to see if Runeterra is a game I could stream full-time instead. If you're enjoying the content, please consider subscribing to the channel. I wouldn't be able to be here without my wonderful subs. One of the many folks in the world who has Amazon Prime. You get Twitch Prime included with that for free. It gives you a sub to a channel of your choice every single month here on Twitch. If this month goes well, I plan to continue making Runeterra content for the foreseeable future, but if this month goes well, it'll be my primary focus. Alright, so with that play, I have to decide, do I want to play out Sentry as a blocker for this, or do I want to prioritize Vile Feasting here? I think I'd rather play this out as a blocker for this.
I'll spot him.
Stuck, and I understand if people who are mostly around for Magic stuff drop off while I'm not doing Magic. It is what it is. I know that's a risk with the decision that I'm making to do other stuff.
Death doesn't scare me.
Yeah, when we have the ability to run third-party tournaments easily on Runeterra, I plan to explore running Hoaglandia Runeterra tournaments. That'll be open entry, similar to like we've done with Arena. And in fact, I've already talked with some folks from Riot, and they said Riot would be interested in providing some support for stuff like that. So.
Explosives primed. In position.
Yeah, that's one of the things I look at, Penguin, for sure. So we get to do this here. We say a wash on life total, these trade off. In a pretty good spot overall here. We're probably going to bank Spell Mana here and then jam Thresh next turn so we can try and get him leveling. Yes, the Hoaglandia Discord is sub-only.
War Mason, reporting for duty.
That's not terrible.
Make the Empire proud.
So I think we go ahead and we'll hook this here and attack with the rest of these so we can trade in. No problem, Serge. Have any questions, always feel free to ask. Usually catch most things in chat.
Sure about that?
Feel like we're in a pretty good spot. We're at 15. We're kind of at 14, but kind of at 15. Can always find my decks on my Mobilytics page. Lots of good information and resources there. Do I try and kill this now? I think the answer is yes. If they have the deal 3, that would feel bad, but this way they don't have a decent thing to get a free open attack with for Misfortune next turn, and if they're forced to play out another unit, I'll be able to Vengeance something before they attack, which will be ideal. I think the new landmark card types are sweet. I actually do like that they take up space on the board. I feel like managing space on your bench is a skill testing part of Runeterra, and it's a real drawback to those style of cards.
Never stop shooting.
And it feels like a pretty good solution overall. This is 3 out of 6 died so far. I think I'm just gonna play Trundle here.
Nice to meet you.
I think there's a chance the landmark cards could be obnoxious if they don't put enough appropriate answers to them into the game, but so far with what we've seen, it seems like that's not going to be an issue. The Runeterra team in general seems to generally do a good job balancing their game and keeping it interesting, so hopefully that will continue with landmarks. I actually never played when you couldn't overwrite units, but I think being able to overwrite units is generally a good thing. They did include a great answer on their spoiler list today. You are correct.
You can't do this.
How do we make elks in this game? Asking the real questions. We're gonna see a deal 3 to this, deal 3 to my face. Well, they could do that with this, right? Maybe they have 2 deal 3s? They're attempting to kill Thresh. I think that's okay with me, right? Like, I get that he's kind of close to leveling, but I think I'm gonna win this game pretty easily without leveling Thresh. I think I want to just, like, hold... I think I want to hold the Vengeance for a Gangplank here or a Darius. Yeah, maybe it's right to just glimpse there.
I am reborn of salt and brine.
Okay, and then I definitely want to just Vengeance this now so they can't open on attacks, right?
Cowards!
Glad we played around that. I think that's definitely our lose condition there.
Like a fish in water.
Sugar in your boots. One troll to rule them all.
Through the coral.
There's nowhere to hide.
In general, I'd encourage you to write a complete thought into chat before you press enter. I promise you Twitch chat supports writing multiple sentences at once.
Dear king, one smack'll do.
Can confirm Twitch chat is not Twitter. Yep. So, thoughts on this. I feel like, one, I think my assessment from the beginning that we have an okay Pirates matchup is definitely accurate. I think we played against a couple different iterations of Bilgewater aggro in this set, and we felt pretty competitive against all of them. I really think that set did a good job overall of highlighting some of the strengths of Thresh right now. Like, there was someone asked a question at the beginning that I preferred this build or the Entreat build that we had played. And I like this build that's more unit-based with Thresh, because Thresh is just a pretty good control tool overall. I think the stat line on this, the way this controls the board against the small unit aggressive decks is very, very good. That being said, the way the format's kind of shifted a little bit, I think someone had suggested perhaps moving away from Ruination, and I think that's probably smart. Someone else had also asked if they don't have 3 Harrowings, what could they replace it with? If you look back at all of the games we played in that set, I don't think Harrowing was necessary in any of the ones that we won. That's not to say Harrowing's not good in some spots. We notably didn't run into a ton of mid-ranger control in this set today, where I think Harrowing is still very good. But I think if I were to play this deck again, the way the ladder's been recently, I think I would consider cutting the 2 Ruinations and one of the 3 Harrowings and put in something else that's a little bit cheaper. Maybe Flash Freeze could be the inclusion for that. Maybe we go up a 3rd Vengeance. Maybe Whale or Avalanche could be okay. I really don't mind Whale, because we have a lot of cheap units, so I don't know that I love Avalanche killing our own things. But yeah, there's basically, like, I think I like the slots in this deck in general here with how this is, but there's like those last 3 I wasn't really happy with in that set, and I would consider exploring other possibilities for it. Okay, so there's still 2 Harrowings out here. The card behind the F2K ad. I wouldn't cut the Harrowings altogether. I think they're good against mid-range and control. I would cut Ruinations is the 9-drop that I would get rid of, I think. Catalyst feels weird. So I actually think Catalyst is very important in this deck, because Catalyst on 3 means that you can play Thresh or Trundle on 4, and Thresh or Trundle on 4 is often very important to having a reasonable curve with this deck. So, I don't know, what would I throw in here at a glance? A couple of Frostbites, because I like to put a finished deck list up on the YouTube page. I think I'd play 2 Frostbites and a Vengeance. I think Vengeance is kind of underrated, just a very good flexible card. Even with the Bastions going around, this can still catch people on occasion. It's fast speed, so you can play it inside of combat. So I think I'd do that. I'd trim the 2 Ruinations of the 3rd Harrowing for 2 Flash Freezes and a Vengeance. One thing that's nice too, we are a Vile Feast deck, so like Vile Feast can notably pop spell shields before you Vengeance things as well, which is nice. So Flash Freeze could also do that too, since we're adding that. You do view browse. I do not. I generally just play ladder matches. At any rate, that's going to wrap up for me for today. For folks that are not quite used to my schedule, I'm doing a few hours of Runeterra. Oh, these are my how many meetings my children have for their e-learning. Don't pay no attention to the children's meetings behind the curtain. We'll be back with some more Runeterra tomorrow morning. I'll be back this evening. We're going to be playing some Shapes, which is a resource management puzzle game, as a turn-based game this evening for my variety segments. And then next week, we're going to be having the new set release. New set releases on Wednesday afternoon. So I'm planning to do some Runeterra that Wednesday night. We're going to do some extra at the end of next week to play with sweet new cards. And remember, if you have any deck build-around ideas for the new cards, you can submit them on the website. I'll catch some of you around tonight. Hopefully, everybody stay safe out there wherever you're at in the world. Peace, folks.